just to introduce myself, my name's Dan Troke. I work for Bit Training, part of the Bit Group. I'm the Director of Apprenticeships here, and I've been asked to come and have a chat today, a little bit of a discussion with you, really talking about apprenticeships and is an apprenticeship for me. Normally I say to people, if you've got questions, ask them on the way through and pop them in the chat. Please don't do that today, not because I don't want to answer questions as I go, but because until I come off of my PowerPoint presentation, I'm not going to be able to see your questions. But if you do have any questions at the end, pop them in the chat and we'll have a chat, and I will quite happy to do a little bit of a Q&A with people as we go. So yeah, the theme for this last session is an apprenticeship for me. All right, I want to make this session a little bit interactive. So I'm going to seconds. If you've got a smartphone or a separate web browser window, if you go to vivox.app or scan that QR code and use that ID, it will allow you to join in. I've got a few interactive elements that I'd love to get people involved with to get your thoughts and your feedback and your feelings as we go through. So if you can just drop onto Vivox, pop in that ID for me in a second. The ID number is in the top of of all the relevant slides if you need it, but I'm just going to pause for probably 5 seconds or so just to give you the opportunity just to find that on your computers there. Brilliant. Okay, so what I want to talk about in terms of apprenticeships. So first of all, let me introduce me. Why am I talking to you today, and what is my credential for being able to talk to you about apprenticeships? Really, I would say the strongest credential I have to be able to talk to you about apprenticeships with knowledge and authority is that I've worked for 15 years in that skills and training sector, working in digital apprenticeships. I've worked for a number of the largest apprenticeship providers in the country in the digital space, and I have a specific focus on cybersecurity skills training. Over my 15-year career, I started off as a trainer. You would come into the classroom with me and I would be teaching you cybersecurity, Security Plus, A+, various other technical certifications and technical training courses. But I've also led training teams for some of the leading providers in the digital sector over the years. Part of the things I've done in the past, I've built and developed and established IT apprenticeship teams from the ground up. In terms of other kinds of qualifications, I've worked with NCFE, helping design their T-level and HTQ qualifications. Last year, I was proud to win that my team won CompTIA's Transformation Award for 2021 based around the apprenticeship programs we're delivering. And I'm really privileged to currently be the Director of Apprenticeships for Bit Training, working with Bit to build and develop our very focused cybersecurity apprenticeship offerings to help build skills and talent in that cybersecurity and IT sector. Also about me, and I think this is why I am passionate about apprenticeships in terms of what I do. When I was 18, I went to the University of Aberdeen up in the northeast of Scotland. Aberdeen, if you've ever been there, is a fantastic city. It's very grey. All the buildings are made of granite. The University of Aberdeen, a great prestigious university. I was really excited to be there. However, it's not until I went to university that I discovered university was not for me. I was in the wrong place. All right. It was definitely the right place for a lot of my friends at the time. I'm certainly not going to say it denigrating university or trying to tell you university is not a great opportunity or option, but we do need as a society, within the educational landscape at the moment, to take a step back and say, what is the right route for people looking to gain a quality education, the qualifications and experience they need? I had a great time at the University of Aberdeen, made some great friends, had some great experiences. But I can say this with 20 years hindsight. If I'm honest, if you want to get the best out of university, you actually have to go to your lectures. You actually have to participate and do the work. University didn't engage me, and the way I learn, it didn't excite or motivate me. So although I had a great experience up there socially, university was not the right option for me at the time as an 18-year-old. It was for my friends. I'm not saying that it isn't for everyone. Okay. If only back in the mid-90s there had been an alternative where I could have got the same quality of education as I could have got going to university and through A levels and the approach to that, but I could have earned money at the same time. That would have motivated me. If I had a more hands-on approach to learning at the time rather than sitting in a lecture, that would have motivated me, and I think I would have got a lot more out of my educational experience as a youngster. I think the point that I'm trying to make is that there are lots of different ways to get the qualifications and the experience you want. People traditionally will talk about going to university and that traditional academic route, and it's a great route, but it's not for everyone. So that's a little bit about me. What I want to do is find out a bit about you, who's on the call today. So if you've got that VBox up and running, I'm going to start the poll. I want you just to tell me at a click who you are and why you're with us today. Brilliant. So we've got people coming from all sorts of backgrounds. We've got some people on cyber boot camps, some people on IT readiness, and some people coming through different routes as well. Okay, so that's helpful to me because it's going to be a picture of people that are coming into the session today and are joining in. And it also tells me when I can't see anything that you guys have been able to access VBox and that my presentation is working. That is a massive relief to me. Okay, so let's look at apprenticeships as a whole. We'll talk about digital in a second, but let's look at some myths and some understanding. On the list of apprenticeships on the screen in front of you, one of these is not real. Everything else on the screen, you can do an apprenticeship in. You can sign up and do an apprenticeship in all of these careers other than one. Which one is it? Interesting. Now, I noted I put doctor in there for a reason. I thought that people would go for that one. There are two people who've got this answer correct. There is currently no apprenticeship standard out there for clown. You can do an apprenticeship as an assistant puppet maker. You can become a fully qualified architect as an apprentice. There is an apprenticeship standard out there called nuclear scientist. It tends to be delivered by Sellafield at Sellafield College because of the nuclear reactor next door. In the beginning of the summer, they approved an apprenticeship standard called doctor. Strictly speaking, you can't enroll on that at the moment. You've got medical schools building their program, but they're expecting by the end of the summer next year, by September 2023, that they will have their first medical students starting to study medicine through the apprenticeship route rather than the traditional academic go to university route. Okay, so what am I trying to say here? There are lots of options out there. There are currently 741 different apprenticeship standards that are available or in development. They include doctor, you can go to medical school, AI data specialist, that is a level 7 apprenticeship, counter fraud investigator, animal trainer, architect, and I'm going to start to slant the conversation back towards the whole cybersecurity and IT landscape and look at what's available there. But the point I want to make is if there is a career, there is likely an apprenticeship that matches or develops it for you. There are options there available to everyone. When we look at the apprenticeship landscape, then we talk about, and what I've done here is I've tried to build the different traditional pathways. Now, I tend to focus down this apprenticeship route because that's the world that I live in. Okay, but what I've tried to do is map them against the kinds of qualifications that you might have heard of that are traditionally available. So when we talk about apprenticeships, you'll find we talk about levels, and I'll talk about we'll do a level 3 apprenticeship as a cybersecurity technician. We'll do a level 4 apprenticeship as a cybersecurity technologist. We'll do a level 3 apprenticeship as an information communications technician. What does that actually mean? All right. When we talk about the levels, broadly, we can compare the level system was put in place so you can compare different types of qualification with each other. So, for instance, a level 3 apprenticeship is equivalent to your A levels, is equivalent to your T level certifications that have recently been developed, so they're coming into the marketplace. A level 4 apprenticeship which we offer at BIT there is equivalent to your HTQs or higher national certifications. Also could roughly be equated to that first year university experience. At BIT, we deliver apprenticeships at level 3 and level 4. Level 2 apprenticeships do exist. There are no digital apprenticeships working at level 2. So the entry point for digital and IT apprenticeships is this level 3 point here. And if you follow your apprenticeship journey far enough, you can take that up to level 7. If I hit hard, it's going to get rid of that. Yes, it is. I could take your apprenticeship up to level 7, so you could get a master's degree as an apprentice. I know that both Plymouth and Exeter University offer level 6 degree apprenticeships in the cybersecurity arena. I think the nearest university that is offering a master's apprenticeship, I think maybe Bath, but a lot of the time these work remotely anyway, so you're not limited in terms of area. But if you want to take your apprenticeship journey where you want it to go, you can take them up to that degree level apprenticeship. And then you can see how those are comparing with other academic pathways as well. The other interesting point is you can swap pathways. So if you're coming out with A-levels and want to come on to level 4 apprenticeship, it's entirely possible to come into that apprenticeship space at the right entry point for you. If we talk about cybersecurity as a whole and IT as a whole, what I've tried to show here is don't think about an apprenticeship as a job. Think about it as your career development pathway. The majority of people in the room today are currently studying either IT readiness boot camps or cybersecurity boot camps. So then the question is, where is your jump point into the apprenticeship marketplace? So I would say if you're studying an IT readiness boot camp, you probably are looking at, depending where your aspirations are, this kind of space here, this information communications technician level 3 or that cybersecurity technician level 3, depending which pathway, where you want your career to take you. But think of this as a career development pathway. You can start off doing your cybersecurity technician level 3 apprenticeship. Once you've completed that, you could look at doing a cybersecurity technologist level 4. That then quite easily follows into a degree level apprenticeships. There's 2 degree level apprenticeships that fit cyber into their pathways. And then you can follow that into a master's program as well. So when you step back and think about apprenticeships, this is not just about a course to get me a job. There is a pathway that probably will suit you and where you want to end up. If you're looking at that, if you're currently on the cybersecurity boot camp, then we will be looking at either the level 3 or the level 4, probably as your jump point into these pathways. And then you can take it as far as you need to. Next question then. If you want to be an apprentice, what age can an apprentice be? Do you have to be under 16? Do you have to be under 18, under 25, or under 90? Brilliant. That's what I was hoping to see. Sometimes you run this poll and you get people thinking that all apprenticeships for kids. Again, that is a perception that unfortunately exists still, is that apprenticeships for young people. They're not. There is no age limit on apprenticeships. Okay. The rules are you must be at least 16 and left school. In fact, if you're age 16 or 18, which I don't think anyone in the audience today are, it's actually more than that. You have to be, by law, be in education or training. An apprenticeship fits within that bracket there. There is no maximum age for apprentices. As it says at the bottom there, I'm an apprentice myself. I've worked in apprenticeships as a sector for 15 years. I have worked in training for 20, and I've been a manager in this sector for quite a few of those years as well. I'm currently completing my level 5 operations departmental manager apprenticeship, which is it's not a technical apprenticeship. It's a management program to help me develop my management skills as a manager. And it's been a great program. I'm about to finish that program in the next couple of months. What I would say is I'm a believer in using apprentices to develop your career. I'm hoping to talk my manager into letting me follow my level 7 apprenticeship. I want to do that with Plymouth University. Plymouth University have an MBA built inside what's called the Level 7 Senior Leader Apprenticeship. But I want to use apprenticeships to continue my career development. And I would encourage people to be looking at apprenticeships to see how you can develop your career and your future as well. Apprenticeships, here's another one then. You will notice if I was looking back at previous slides, if I can go backwards, you'll notice I've got different funding levels. That's how much the program costs. If you're an apprentice, how much is your apprenticeship going to cost you? Interesting. 22%. So just over 1 in 5 of you who are responding voted for £3,000 a year. Now that's not bad, is it? If you go to university, they're going to charge you up to £9,000 a year for your apprenticeship fees. So £3,000 a year seems like really good value. However, it is the wrong answer. Okay, apprenticeships are government funded. They're funded through 2 mechanisms, and that depends on the size of the company you work for. But essentially, the apprenticeship is paid for through government funding. There is a potential that your employer may need to make a contribution towards that. So if you take on an apprenticeship, the training costs are met by the ESFA and your employer, not the apprentice. You are not allowed to be charged costs. I, as an apprenticeship provider, am not allowed to add any cost to the apprenticeship to you. So when you talk about the programs that we're talking about, level 3 and level 4, that funded up to £18,000, that £18,000 is paid for you. If you've got friends or you know people who've gone off to university and are racking up £9,000 a year's worth of debt, plus all their living costs, if you were to do a degree apprenticeship, you're not racking up the costs there. Those loans that your colleagues are taking out are met by the fact that you're in work and earning a wage, and the funding for that program is paid for. The thing to be aware of, and I know that the age differential within the room here it varies, is the thing you do need to be aware of is you are an employee and you are paid a wage by the employer. You do need to be aware what the apprentice minimum wage is, okay? And you can see that on the screen in front of you. So if you're 16 to 18, the apprentice minimum wage is £4.81 per hour. At 19 plus, it's that for the first year, rising to national minimum wage for your age group. Now, what I do want to point out here is a lot of people see this as a barrier. Please don't. All right. That is the minimum, not a target. Employers choose the salary they pay. And they will, if they want you to come and work for them, they'll pay you an appropriate salary for your skills. It would be fair to say that an apprentice will normally receive a salary that will be less than someone who's experienced in the same role. But to say that you're going to be on £4.81 an hour is also untrue. What I would say is if you're looking at apprenticeships and want to get into an apprenticeship there, talk to us. We would look at working with employers, and it's a case of matching you to an employer that is going to be paying a salary that's appropriate for you. All right. If you're an employer and you're looking at apprenticeships, just so you're aware, the funding mechanism for them it depends on the size of you as a company. If you're a small employer, the ESFA pay 95% of the costs, and you're asked to make a 5% contribution. If you're a large employer, and by large employer, you've got over 50 employees, your payroll exceeds £3 million. 3 million sounds a lot, but trust me, if you're looking at payroll and you've got 50 staff, you're likely to be getting in that direction anyway. You are taxed each month, something called the apprenticeship levy, and that money is red-ringed and is used to pay for apprentices coming into your business. So if you're a larger employer, you're already paying for apprenticeship training, even if you don't have any apprentices there. You really need to come and talk to us about how we can help you spend the money that you've had taken off of you in that case. But yeah, if you're looking at coming into an apprenticeship, the costs are paid by the ESFA and maybe a contribution by the employer. You are not charged anything for the training program that you're on, and we're not allowed to charge you anything. I looked when I was preparing for today about what the different costs of learning. The slide I've got here focuses on degree apprenticeships. In truth, let's drop back a little bit. We're looking at level 3, level 4 apprenticeships, but the theme runs true. All right. If you were to take someone to go down a traditional academic route and maybe go to university and do a degree, on average, they're ending up with just about £40,000 of debt as they go through that program. If you come through that apprenticeship route, you have a job, you have an employer that you're working with, you have an income, you are not being charged any fees for that program. On average, if you were to take someone who goes through the traditional academic route, starts off maybe going to their A levels and eventually goes through and follows it through to a degree, you're talking that £40,000 worth of debt is an average kind of figure. If you come down the apprenticeship route and you take it to its conclusion at the degree, you actually end up in the green. And if you look at the cost difference, it's about £53,000 better off down the apprenticeship route. So it's a much better financial position than going to university. You can see there that the kind of salaries that apprentices are achieving are higher than those who are doing degrees. The other thing I would say here is the salary figures here are based around on average. Digital as a sector actually is higher paying, and you would find that your salary would be higher than this, much higher than this, after completing that apprenticeship pathway and apprenticeship route. So, what do you need to do? If you're looking to break into a new career in that digital sector, find your, and I'm going to use the word vertical. By vertical, I mean, we are focused a lot on cyber today, whether I've been talking here or whether I've talked to people who come and had a chat with me this morning. People have talked about that vertical being cyber security. Your vertical might be different. You might be interested in data analysis. You might want to be a software developer. You might be looking at a slightly different progression for you. Find opportunities on the Find Apprenticeship website. If you just go to Google and search for Find Apprenticeship, a lot of employers there are listing apprenticeships. And if you advertise for apprentices, they normally are advertised there first. So there are a lot of apprenticeship opportunities there. Large employees are now adapting or replacing their graduate programs, their intern programs. Have a look at employers in your space. Search for early careers, and you will find that a lot of employers are taking people on through that early careers pathway there. If your interest is IT and cyber, which I think the majority of people here are, come and talk to me after. We can look at what we've got available in your area. We can look at what is the appropriate level for you to come into that pathway. And then if we've got apprenticeships available in your area, we can match you to them. And if they're not, we can work with you to try and find employers in your area to be able to get you into that apprenticeship pathway. If you're an employer, I know we have employers in the session today, if you're an employer that's considering growing or developing your workforce, have a look at the standards that match you. If it's IT and cyber, again, connect with me, let's have a chat. I'm happy to give advice or help if needed, even if the pathway you're looking for is not something we offer. I've been in this space for 15 years. I can tell you exactly who to talk to in a digital space if it's not something we can support you yourself. If you're an employer and you don't have an apprentice, you are robbing your business's future. This is the route you can use to develop the talent within your industry. A final thought, I attended a session with BCS, the British Computer Society, about 2 weeks ago. And a guy called Mark Wood, who manages the schools and education programs at Siemens, made the point. Over 80% of our early careers recruits are apprentices, not graduates. The sector you guys are all looking to move into, that digital space, is engaged with apprenticeships. There are opportunities out there. If that's where you want to end up, we can help you find those pathways and opportunities for you. I'm going to take this slide off. If you want to get in touch with me, you connect with me through Twitter. There's my LinkedIn. If you scan that QR code, it'll give you my virtual business card.